Hello and welcome to Math on the Go. Have you ever wondered how you could figure out the decimal approximation of a square root without a calculator? Well, in this video we will do just that. So as a refresher, if we have, say, the square root of 4, that equals 2 because 2 squared equals 4. And in order to get rid of the square on each side, you would end up with 2 equals 2, like so. A few more examples would be the square root of 9 equals 3 because 3 squared equals the square root of 9. Take the square root of that side, you end up with 3 equals 3. Same with square root of 16 equals 4 because 4 squared equals the square root of 16. Take the square root of that side, take the square root of both sides, you end up with 4 equals 4, and so on and so forth. So how would you figure out a number such as, say, the square root of 5? How are we going to figure that out? That has no perfect square. It would be some messy decimal approximation, but how are we going to figure that out? Sure, we could grab our smartphone or just about any other calculator and type in square root of 5 and get its decimal approximation, but where's the fun in that? It's too easy. We will find the decimal approximation up to 3 decimal places of the square root of 5 using just multiplication, basically. Also, a quick note, there are other methods that you can do to find a decimal approximation. One of them involves division of decimals, and that gets long and nasty and tedious, especially without a calculator. And we want to do this without a calculator, so we will not be covering that method in this video. Maybe in a future video. So let's think about this for a moment. We have the square root of 5, and we don't know what it is in decimal form. Let's consider what we do know. We do know that the square root of 4 equals 2, and the square root of 9 equals 3. The square root of 5 is somewhere in the middle. But where is it? Well, we got 4, 5, and 9. 9 is 4 away from 5, and 5 is 1 away from 4. So it is 5, square root of 5 is going to be 2 point something. But what is that something? Our first step is going to be to make an educated guess as to what the square root of 5 might be based on this information. So we're going to start with 2.1 since square root of 5 is close to the square root of 4, so it's 2 point something. We'll start low with a 2.1. 2.1, that is our first guess. So what do we do with this 2.1? Well, we square it. We'll take the square of 2.1. So we have 2.1 squared, so 2.1 times 2.1, we get 1, 2, 2, 4. That's 1, 4, 4. So that's equals 4.41. That's close to 5, but not quite. So let's try 2.2 squared. 2.2. Let's square that. So we end up with 2.2 times 2.2. That's 4, 4, 4, 4. That gives us 4, 8, 4. So 4.84. Okay, that's even closer. So let's see, can we go any higher? Let's do 2.3. Let's square that. So we have 2.3 times 2.3. That's 9, 6, 6, 4. It gives you 9, 2, 5. 5.29. Okay, now 5.29 is too high because we went above 5. We want to get as close to 5 as possible. So our winner is the 2.2. So our first part of the approximation is 2.2. That's what we've got so far. So let's add a second decimal point in the hundredths place. All right, so for the fun of it, we will start with 2.22 as our first guess. And of course, we're going to square that and end up with 2.22 times 2.22. That gives us 44444 and 444. That's a lot of fours. Gives us 4, 8, 12, 9, 4. 4.9284. Okay, that's pretty close. Let's see what happens if we do 2.23. 2.23. We'll square that. So we have 2.23 times 2.23. We'll multiply that. We'll end up with 966, 644. And because it's 2 again, we know it's the same as that one, 644. So we end up with 9, 12, okay, 1, 2, 6, 7, 17, 8, 9, and 4, 4.9729. Okay, that's even closer. As you can see, our hundredths is getting closer. But can we get closer? By going up to 2.24? 2.24. So we'll take that, we'll square that. So we have 2.24 times 2.24. We end up with 16, 9, 8, and then 8, 4, 4, 8, 4, 4. So we end up with 6, 7, carry the 1, that's what, 21, 8, 9, 10, and 5. Well, it looks like that 2.24 is too high. So 2.24 is too high, 2.22 is too low. Our winner is right here, 2.23. So our next digit is a 3. So far we have 2.23 as our decimal approximation of the square root of 5. So if you haven't noticed the pattern yet, I'll point it out. As we're trying to find a decimal place, such as with the tenths place, when we squared it, we were trying to get as close to 9 as possible without going over. 2.1 gave us 4.41, so we tried higher. 2.2 gave us 4.84, which was correct, but we tried a little higher, which went over. 4.41 to 4.84 was a jump in 0.43, so we could have guessed that 2.3 was going to be too high. Similarly, when we went to the hundredths place, we started at 2.22, which gave us 4.9284, and putting a 2, which put a 2 in the hundredths place right there, which that was too low. So then we tried 2.23, which gave us 4.9729, also low, but again there was a change in 0.0445. So we could have assumed that 2.24 was going to be too high, given that we were at 4.97 with the 7 in the hundredths place, and before we were at a 2. That's quite a difference between the two. The next one jumped up even higher. So we could have stopped at 2.23, but sometimes it's good to just, go a step further and make sure that the next one up isn't going to be, closer without going over. Basically what we're going for is like the price of right rules here. We want to get as close to the number without going over. 5.0176 is over 5, so that's gone. 4.9284 is too low, but 2.23, that was just right. So we'll stick with the 2.23, and now let's go on to the next decimal place. So we've got 2.23 so far. Time to make another guess here. Let's see, let's try heck with it. Let's do 2.234. And again, like we did before, we square it. So 2.234 times 2.234. All right, now we're going to have to multiply this. So, so we end up with 6, 5, 17, 30. Let's see. 9, 1, we got 9, 4. So that gave us 4.990756. So, like I said previously, we want this to get as close to 9 without going over. So, how are we going to do that? Well, let's jump up the thousandths place another number. Let's see how much change we get with 2.235. Let's square that. So we end up with 2.235 times 2.235. All right, let's multiply this out. Okay, so we have 5, 2, 1 gives us 2, 14, 15, let's see, 19, 8, 9, 4, 4.995225. So that got closer. That went up a total of 0.005-ish or so, you know, because we went from a 0 in the thousandths to a 5 in the thousandths. So that could be our guess, but just to be sure, we'll jump up one more here. Let's go with 2.236. And again, we square it. So we end up with 2.236 times 2.236. So that gives us 636. Got 12, got 6, 7, 4, got 4. And this is starting to look a little promising here. Okay, looking pretty promising. I mean, it could still end up going over, but so far so good. So we've got ourselves 6, 9, 6, 19, 19, 9, 4. So we end up with 4.999696. So I think we got ourselves a winner. So 2.236 is our decimal approximation of the square root of 5, 2.236. So as you can see, it's not very practical to sit there and have to go through and try and find the decimal approximation of a square root, but it can come in handy, I suppose, at some point in time. I mean, it took quite a while, and you know, so for the fun of it, let's see how fast a calculator can do it. This is my TI Inspire CX-CAS. And let's see. Square root of 5. Let's see, here we go. How fast can this calculator calculate it? Okay, let's try again. Let's see how fast this calculator can approximate it. Okay. All right. Took almost as much time as it took us. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.